Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, you guys, people game. I saw an interesting interview with Bernard Hopkins on Fight Hub TV. So shout out to Fight Hub. I want to give the credit where the credit is due. But Bernard Hopkins was asked a question about Canelo. And it's okay that Marcos backs up Canelo because, you know, he's Mexican like Canelo. And that's okay. I don't have no problem with that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. You know, and he basically asked Bernard Hopkins who do he think would win a prime Andre Ward versus a prime Canelo at 168, which is, you know, super middleweight. And Bernard Hopkins said that Andre Ward would beat Canelo down. He probably wouldn't stop him, but he would dominate him. Me, myself, I've said this for years, and I stand by this. Canelo, on his best day, would have never beat Andre Ward in a fight. See, Andre Ward became the definitive, undisputed pound-for-pound #1 best fighter on the planet when he beat Sergey Kovalev. It was a wrap. He was #1 pound-for-pound. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's always, you know, it's always subjective. It's always debatable. Just like I don't have Canelo #1 pound-for-pound. I have Terrence Crawford. And I'm not finna argue with any, you know, primarily, you know, Hispanic fans about Canelo. If you think Canelo is #1 pound-for-pound, that's fine. But don't sit up here and tell me that I have to say Canelo is pound-for-pound because you Hispanic like him. You basically can eat a dick. I have who I have #1, and I stand by that. I'm not even finna argue with you about it. But there is this false sense of bravado from Canelo fans. Some of them really believe that he would beat Andre Ward, and not only beat him, but stop Andre Ward. Are you talking about the same Canelo that couldn't stop a past his prime Sugar Shane Mosley and a past his prime Miguel Cotto? Couldn't stop Daniel Jacobs. You know, at the end of the day, there's a lot of suspicion around Canelo about the legitimacy of his fights, which I'm going to talk about that later on. But Andre Ward would have curb stomped Canelo. Now, before you sit up there and say, oh, well, Andre Ward got a gift decision against Sergey Kovalev in the first fight. Okay. If you want to play that game, that's fine. And Canelo got a gift decision versus Lara. A lot of people thought that the Austin Trout fight was very close, where Austin Trout could have got the nod. Then if you look at his last fight with Caleb Plant, even though he ended up stopping Caleb Plant, if you really watch that fight without being a fanboy, Caleb Plant, in a lot of people's eyes, was winning that fight. He was outboxing Canelo, and Canelo struggled against him. Now, Canelo have his diehard fans, and that's fine. Now, if you want to make the comparison, Sergey Kovalev versus Canelo, well, we all know that a lot of people think that Sergey Kovalev did the deep sea dive in that fight. Okay? That's just fact. A lot of people did. I mean, you even had professional boxers saying, you know what, I'm not even gonna speak on that. I'm gonna let it be. So like I said, it's always a cloud of suspicion when it comes to Canelo, and I'm going to talk about that. I mean, I'm gonna talk about it later on, but yeah, man, Andre Ward would have whooped on Canelo. He really would have whooped on Canelo. It would have been bad. If you think Floyd like dominated Canelo, man, you talking about a bigger, stronger version of Floyd Mayweather and skillful fighter in Andre Ward. I mean, come on, man. For real. Let's not make it look like Canelo is fighting the best guys out there. He's fighting good competition, but he's not fighting the best of the best. Real talk. But anyway, just wanted to put that out there. This your boy Town Biz, man. I'm out.